Hi folks, Wooden Boat Dan here. Just wanted to give you a heads up. The podcast you're about to listen to was recorded several years ago, so some of the phone numbers, email addresses, website links, and time-sensitive information are no longer valid. Please keep that in mind as you listen. If you'd like to contact me, my email address is woodenboatdan@gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Hooked on Wooden Boats, weekly podcast episode number 76. I'm your host, Dan Matson, aka Wooden Boat Dan. If he can't do it, nobody can do it very well like he does it. And this is the world's first podcast fully dedicated to celebrating the art, craft, history, tradition, and romance of wooden boats all over the world. Welcome to the podcast today, folks. Great to have you. Thanks for tuning in again. The number of downloads each week are still increasing, which is pretty cool. So a lot of people are listening, and I appreciate it. Today's featured interview is with Mindy Ross of the Center for Wooden Boats in Seattle, Washington. Mindy has been working at the center and volunteering there for 14 years, and she's the Sailing Education Director. Had a great interview with her, so stick around for that. I think you're going to enjoy it. Personally, I did work on my canoe some more this weekend. Got the fourth coat of paint on, and I might have mentioned that last week. In fact, I think I did because I had a couple holidays, as they call them. So next was some experimentation with the holidays. So what I did first was I took a little car rubbing compound. Now, actually, what I did first was I went over the holidays with a foam brush and overlapped the existing paint a little bit on each end. And once that dried, I took some rubbing compound and used that at the ends where the paint overlaps onto the other glossy paint. Kind of leaves a funny looking place there. So I compounded that down. And I wasn't super happy with the results, so then I took some 1000 grit automotive sandpaper and wet sanded the area, thinking that would polish it, and that actually dulled the paint, smoothed it out really nice. So then I put another coat of paint on that area. Now I'm going to go back with the rubbing compound again and hit the ends and call it good. I mean, it's like 95% perfect, so that's perfect enough for me. Which reminds me of a quote I just read that General Patton said that a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. So I guess you could apply that to my boat. I got the good coat of paint on today, better than the perfect coat tomorrow, which I may never get there, but it's going to look really nice, so I've just got to put a little compound on there. So the boat's looking great. My goal was to get that finished before we move. We've got our house sold, and we're going to be start moving this weekend. And it's pretty cool because we found another house in our area that we're going to rent for a while. And it's got a huge 880 square foot 3-car garage. It's all finished. 9-foot ceilings, got a window and a skylight, 3 garage doors. So that'll be perfect for the shop. And once I get moved in there, the weather will be warming up. Then I'll be able to varnish the boat and move on. Oh, the other thing I did was I was at Costco shopping, and they sell these stadium seats, which are these little portable seats that you take to your football game, and you put it on the bleacher, and you're all comfy, cozy with your seat back and your seat bottom. So I bought one of those, and I'm actually going to adapt it to my canoe for the seat in my canoe. It was only $20, and if you buy anything with a marine label on, it's typically 3 times as much. So I was looking at kayak seats, and they're start at $50. And this will basically do the same thing. I'll have to modify it a little bit. Comes with a fleece blanket, so actually I may need that on the canoe. We'll see. So I'm pretty excited about that, getting a $20 seat for the canoe. So anyway, that is moving along well, and we're pretty excited to be moving into this new house, which, by the way, is 1 block from a little lake called Lake Kai. And the community that we live in actually has a private beach on Lake Kai. It's not a huge beach, probably I don't know if it's 30 or 50 feet wide, something like that. But it'll be a great place for me to take my canoe down to the lake, go paddling, hang out at the beach, dream about my scamp, talk about wooden boats, all that kind of fun stuff. So there you go. Well, as you may know by now, this podcast is all about getting in the game, the wooden boat game, that is. And I would like to encourage folks that are listening, if you're not into wooden boats, or if you're just getting your feet wet, or if you're not sure what to do next, there's all kinds of fun ways to get involved. Depending upon where you live, there may be some kind of a wooden boat center near where you live, or a wooden boat shop. There may be a wooden boat festival. You can certainly go online and get a lot of information about wooden boats. And if you're interested in building a wooden boat, I would suggest you start small. Maybe even go with a kit and build a 10 to 18 foot kayak or canoe or pram or something like that. It's really a lot of fun. It's very rewarding to build something with your hands, and it's beautiful when you're done. And if it's taken care of, it'll last for many generations. It's just a cool thing to do. So get in the game if you're not in yet, all right? Okay. Shout out to new subscriber this week, to Gerald Albertson. Gerald subscribed to my monthly e-newsletter, which this month wasn't monthly yet because I haven't sent it out for February. My goal is to have it sent out by the 15th of each month, and I got to get February's out still, which I'm going to try to do that this week or next. So if you would like to subscribe to my e-newsletter, you can go to hookedonwoodenboats.com/subscribe. Also want to mention again that I added a page to my website called Index, and if you go to that page on my website, it allows you to quickly scroll through the 76 episodes that I've published and quickly go to one of the episodes, the ones you're most interested in, because the little table on the Index page shows what the episode is about, who the interview's with, just some brief information there, and then there's a hyperlink on the left. You just click on that, and it'll take you right to where you want to go. So I would encourage you to use that. The next Scamp Camp in Port Townsend is coming up next week, a week from Monday, I believe, is when it starts. Is that right? March 4th, whenever that is. Wow, that's this coming Monday. It's a 2-week camp where they're going to build. Last time I talked to Scott Jones, Scott said they were going to build 7 boats, and they had more participants than 7, so some people will be learning, helping with other boats. So I'm going to try to swing over there and check it out, and hopefully I'll be able to order my Scamp kit once we get moved, and I got to sell a couple things. I'm going to sell my utility trailer, my riding lawnmower, and a couple things to get a little money together, and use that to buy my Scamp kit and get rolling on that puppy. I can't wait. That's going to be pretty exciting. Okay, we're going to move on to the interview with Mindy Ross of the Center for Wooden Boats, and she's also got some great sailing tips. She's a very well-trained and experienced and seasoned sailor, so towards the interview I start picking her brain about sailing tips, so that's pretty cool too. So anyway, take it away, Mindy. It is February 9th, 2013. I am sitting with Mindy Ross at the Center for Wooden Boats in Seattle. Welcome to the podcast, Mindy.
Thank you, Dan.
Good to have you here today. We just met today for the first time. I coerced Dan Leach into finding some interviewees for me, and he said, you got to talk to Wendy, so it's good to have you on the show today.
Yeah, great to be here.
So, we're sitting outside on the dock undercover. It's a balmy February day, probably about 42 degrees or something like that, but it's not raining, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We had 12 new sailing students start this morning and 12 new volunteer sail instructors for shore school. So our classroom today was quite full, and everybody was really proactive, dressed for the weather, ready to be outside, and so it's nice with sailing. You have to be present to win and be outside.
Cool. So where are you from originally, Mindy?
I grew up outside of Cleveland, Ohio, in a town called Berea, and my family they're all longtime sailors, and we sailed out of Sandusky Sailing Club.
Okay.
And
is that on one of the Great Lakes?
It's on Lake Erie.
Lake Erie,
on
okay.
Lake Erie.
Okay.
And not far from the islands out there. And so I grew up in a racing family. My grandfather raced in the 20s and 30s. He
Really?
sailed Comets. He had a Trivet. And he sailed out of Cleveland Yacht Club. And that's where my dad grew up at. So my dad grew up as crew, and then he started sailing wooden thistles.
Oh, yeah.
And in the 60s and 70s. And then we would travel around. My parents, when my mom met my dad, she said, if I'm going to hang out with this guy, I know I've got to learn how to sail.
Yeah.
So she started sailing and crewing with him, and they customized their Craftsman van and took my brother and I all over the Southeast and all over the Midwest racing in Thistle regattas.
Really?
Yep. And so they were really active in the fleet. And back in the day, we'd just camp out at the yacht club and in tents or in the van and sail for the weekend, and then travel to the next regatta and do that for the first 10 years of my life.
Having a blast as a kid.
It was fun, yeah. It was definitely fun, too, because there would be times when we would sail with them, but other times we would, my brother and I, he's older than I, we would just run around the yacht club grounds or around the marina parks with the other kids, the other families that were there, and we always knew, my parents would always... they would make sure we were introduced to the snack bar guy or the bartender at the yacht club, because they always had a VHF radio. And so if we got into trouble, we were supposed to go to the bar or go to the snack bar and radio my parents out on the race course.
Oh, really?
And they would head back in.
Funny.
So that
so
was
did that happen
like,
very often?
Oh, no, never.
So a Thistle's a 17-foot sloop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep,
wooden boat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you run spinnakers on those?
Yep,
too?
spinnakers.
Okay.
Yep, and you drew pike, and it's a 3-person crew.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of crew for a 17-foot boat.
Mm-hmm. Well, it has a huge mainsail.
Oh.
It's a really powerful boat. So
you need the ballast probably as much as anything.
Yep,
huh?
you need the ballast, and it's really great to run a racing dinghy with 3 people for the spinnaker on that large of a boat. So, yeah.
So you did that till you were how old?
So my family was doing that, sailing Thistle, until I was about 10, and then our family purchased a Tartan 10, which is a fiberglass boat, and that was a really popular fleet on Lake Erie. There was about 30 boats that would race competitively every weekend, all east-west across Lake Erie, and at that time, too, I started sailing at the Sailing Club as a junior, and so we learned how to sail in, it was fiberglass boats, too, but in FJs and
we try not to
lasers.
use the F word on this program.
Oh, you said
I'm
you
kidding.
would edit for...
I'm kidding. The fiberglass isn't profanity.
Isn't profanity, okay,
I'm just teasing.
That's good. Well, there was always a bit of wood on the boat, but not...
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So, but with wooden boats and heritage, though, it was always great to see photos of my dad and my grandpa sailing wooden boats. Up until
you
the 60s.
mentioned the Comets?
Yeah, Comet.
And what are those boats?
As far as I understand, it's a 2-person racing boat, similar to a snipe, larger than a snipe, but hard chine.
Like a 14-foot sloop?
I want to say that it's around 16, but I may be wrong.
Yeah. So did you sail in some heavy weather on Lake Erie?
On Lake Erie? Yeah, we've sailed, we've sailed in front of thunderstorms and sailed in 25 knots or more. And
wow.
So, yeah.
Because it gets pretty hairy out there, right? I mean, it's not like a little lake like Lake Union. It's kind of more like the ocean. Yeah,
it's a large lake. One of the things that's really great about Lake Erie is that in certain areas it's not too deep, and so the water temperatures do get warm enough to jump overboard and
nice.
and when you're cruising and just rinse off in the water, swim. There's some sandbars that are shift all around. The waves come in sets of 3s and just you can also sail up to Canada, and so it's large enough that you can really get out there.
Yeah, very cool. So what did you do after high school, Mindy?
So after high school, during high school, we moved to Lake Michigan, and we moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and sailed out of Wisconsin. I got an opportunity to sail on the Gazella, which is a tall ship that sails out of Penn Station, or sail out of Philadelphia. And my brother went on to Maine Maritime Academy in Maine, and so I'd go out and visit him and sail with him a bit. So some tall ship. I started teaching at the yacht club, coached racing, then went on to University of Oregon and sailed on their sailing team there.
Oh, really?
Yep. And then when I was looking for places to live, I thought, gosh, I need water. I need water. Yeah. And so up and down the West Coast, I thought, San Francisco is great, but a little too crowded of a city for me. And Portland, there's not enough big water. I didn't want to just sail in the river. And so decided to move to Seattle.
Cool. What year was that?
That was in 97. And then I came down and visited the Center for Wooden Boats and found immediate community. I thought, wow, this is a place I can hang out every weekend and go sailing. I got checked out on the boats and started volunteering as a sail instructor down here.
Yeah.
And I was working at the Seattle Yacht Club at the time and started doing some racing on snipes out on Lake Washington, and then got hired on as a volunteer coordinator at the Center for Wooden Boats and running the sailing programs. And for the last 14 years, I've been on and off as volunteer staff, depending on interests and family needs and that sort of thing.
So yeah. Is this your day job, or is this all volunteer?
This is my day job right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very psyched to. I manage the adult sailing programs, including our free Sunday public sail, which we take about 150 people or more out sailing every Sunday for free. I manage the adult sailing lessons, and then also the youth sailing, the after-school programs, and the summer camps.
So do you have a boat of your own?
Currently, I have a wooden El Toro.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
very cool.
Yeah, little
and
Henry.
El Toro is 8 or 10 feet? It's pretty small boat.
Just over 8 feet.
Yeah.
Yep, 8 feet. A wooden pram. And they were designed in the 1930s down at Richmond Yacht Club during bull sessions. And these bull sessions were very enthusiastic, heated conversations of what could be the best boat design for a sailing sailing dinghy that could also be a tender for a larger boat, so a rowing sailing dinghy. The Richmond Yacht Club members wanted
Richmond where?
San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Richmond Yacht Club down in San Francisco. And so out of these bull sessions, they came up with the El Toro design.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that. In the 30s, huh?
Yep.
And those boats are still active.
They're still active, yeah. They're still raced. There's fiberglass fleets, and then we have a fleet of 13 that we use for our youth sailing program.
Here at the center?
Here at the Center for
those
boats,
are the bright boats stacked up over here.
The rainbow boats.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, so you've got one of those. Did you get out on it?
Right now, it's got a hole in it, so we're doing a scarfing. We're gonna do a little repair, and so it's ready for repair. So it's a good first project. Having grown up with fiberglass boats, I know how to patch and fiberglass, and so this is my good starter boat for a wooden boat.
Yeah, how long have you had that boat?
6 months.
Oh wow, you just got it.
Yeah, I just picked it up.
Yeah. Okay. So what's your favorite boat here at the Center for Wooden Boats?
That's a
you have any favorites?
Probably my favorite boat to sail on a 6-knot day is the Geary 18.
Oh.
Yeah, and the Geary 18, it was designed by Ted Geary. It's also called a flatty, and it was designed as a boat that could be raced and that could be built in high schools and raced by juniors. So it's a plywood construction, hard chine plywood construction sloop. And so that's my favorite boat to sail.
Really? Is that a pretty fast boat?
Yeah, it's fast.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an 18-foot boat?
Yep.
Really? Plywood, hard chined, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm called a flatty. And
so what does a hard chine do in terms of sailing? What does that do for you?
Right. Well, in terms of boat building, it makes it a lot easier to build.
Right.
So you'll find most of your plywood construction.
Panels.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Most of your plywood construction boats will be hard chine. As far as boat handling,
stability of the boat, right?
Yeah, and stability and boat handling. What you'll find is that it has good initial stability because it disperses because it's not really round. It's not going to be quite as tender as another design. When you sail it, you want to sail a hard chine boat with the windward chine just 1 to 2 inches out of the water so that you minimize the drag. So you're going to let the boat heel over about 11 degrees so that you get the leeward chine in the water, but the windward chine is just hovering above the waves so that it doesn't catch as much friction and you don't have as much surface contact with the water. So that's
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're on the starboard tack, then you want the starboard chine out of the water a couple inches.
Yeah,
did I get
just like
that
an
right?
inch or two. Yep. When you're scooted out or you look down at your water line, you shouldn't see any turbulence coming off of your windward chine.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's the most efficient position to be in, huh? Yeah. So what are some other sailing tips?
Oh.
You've got a million of them probably.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your top 3.
Oh, this is an easy one. Flat is fast.
Flat is fast.
Flat is fast, yep. So just a little bit of heel, but you don't want to be heeling your boat over. The more you heel your boat, the less efficient your sail area is because your mast heels over. So the point from the top of your mast down to the water line, your mast is actually not as high.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah. And your keel or your centerboard is not at its maximum depth in the water, and so you'll have more leeway that happens.
Interesting.
So you may feel the apparent wind increase because you're going against the wind and you're heeling. It feels good.
Yeah.
But if you can do your best to crack off on your main sheet, reef your sail, hike out, move your weight to windward, the flatter your boat is, the faster it goes.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another sailing tip. Use your sails to steer the boat. So if you imagine you have, let's say you're sailing a sloop. You've got 2, let's call them foils. You've got 2 sails up above, up in the air, and you've got 2 foils down below the water. You've got your keel or centerboard, and you've got your rudder. If you just rely on your rudder to steer the boat, you're going to be creating a lot of drag, or you'll feel a lot of helm or a lot of resistance. If you initiate your turns by steering with the sails and with your body weight, you'll minimize the drag under the water, which again will make your boat sail faster and more smoothly. So an example of how you would do that, with the pivot point, the center of lateral resistance where your boat wants to turn, is generally right behind the mast. And that's where the boat's going to want to turn. With your sail, you have effort in your sail, and effort behind that pivot point or that center of lateral resistance, let's say effort in the mainsail, will help the boat turn up towards the wind. Effort in the jib helps the boat turn downwind. So let's say we're preparing for attack. I'm going to say ready about, and even before I push the helm over, I can start trimming in on my mainsail, which will make the boat naturally want to steer up towards the wind. I can push my helm over to continue through the wind. You'll pass head to wind. Now I want to use my jib to help us turn downwind. So I'm going to let my jib backwind on the wrong side of the boat, backwind, and that will help bring the bow down out of head to wind, and then let the mainsail fill and continue on my tack. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's a fun exercise. So try just letting.
Can you do that without using your rudder?
Yeah, if you want.
Centerboard?
Yeah, when you're sailing along, let go of the rudder a little bit to check the balance of your boat. If your boat starts to head up a little bit, ease off on your main sheet, trim a little harder on your jib, and then that will should help bring the bow down. If you're in a very small boat, you're going to have to adjust your weight too. If I want a boat to head downwind, I'm going to ease off on my main to release pressure in the main, trim my jib properly, and move my weight to windward. And that will help heal the boat, and the boat will want to carve downwind a little bit more than it would if I keep my weight to leeward. The reason why body weight matters on your boat is if we both sit on the leeward side, we're putting more, let's say we're in a hard chine boat too, we're putting more surface area on the leeward side in, and it's now we have asymmetry in the water, and that helps turn the boat up towards the wind. So it's a different surface or curve that's pushing in the water.
So I've never thought of as 2 foils up and 2 down. So try to steer with the 2 up as much as possible, because there's less turbulence.
Yes, turbulence. Yeah, air is your sails are larger than the rudder, and also air is lighter than water, so there's less drag.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's 2. You got some more?
Oh, another sailing tip: never jump on a boat.
Okay.
That could be twofold. No, I do suggest going for sailing with people, as in jumping. Come on aboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just say step on and off at the side stay. And never jump on a boat. Yeah. That's a simple one.
Yeah. Okay. How about underway? Any more underway?
Let's see, underway. Tips for sailing underway.
What's one of the most common mistakes people make in sailing when they're starting out?
Probably oversteering. Thinking that they need to have a tight grip on the helm, that they need to try to control the direction.
The helm would be the tiller.
The tiller, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a tight grip on your helm, just ease up. You shouldn't have any white knuckles. Let go of the tiller a little bit, see where it balances out, and keep your head out of the boat. Look around at your surroundings.
So what does that do when you let your hand off the tiller? What does that tell you?
It shows you how your trim and your balance is. So is your mainsail trimmed too tight for your course? If I let go of the helm, maybe the boat wants to start heading up too high. So if I have a well-balanced boat, I've got my body weight in a good position, and my sails are trimmed properly, I should be able to let go of the helm in like 4 to 6 knots of wind, and the boat should track and stay on that course and not want to head up or head down. So it goes back to that same thing of steering with your sails. When in doubt, ease them out. Find the luff and then trim in just until it stops luffing. So when you asked what's the most common mistake or the common thing that I see happening is people sailing with their sails too tight. So they over trim. When in doubt, ease out, let the sail luff, just flutter a little bit and then trim it in just until it stops. And because the wind is always oscillating and there's wind shifts, that's one thing I always do, ease out, find the left, trim back in until it stops. If you let go of the tiller and your boat wants to head up, then you might have your mainsail too tight, your jib might be too loose, or you might have a little too much heel. You want to flatten the boat out to keep it from rounding up.
Cool. Wow, those are awesome tips. I've done a little sailing over the years, and I know how to sail, but I don't know stuff like that. So
great, good.
That's cool. So tell me a little bit more about maybe what's going on here at the Center for Wooden Boats. People that are listening, if they want to get involved in sailing or volunteering, what's going on down here? Yeah,
well, very reliably, you can count on a new volunteer orientation every second Saturday of the month from 10 to noon if you'd like to get involved. For every 3 hours of volunteer time, you get an hour of free boat time. We also have sailing lessons available every 5 weeks for our group sailing lesson, which is called Sail Now. And that is a program where we teach you how to single-hand the boat so that you can sail on your own down here. We also have one-on-one lessons available year-round. The other ways to get involved besides volunteering or taking a workshop like sail making or sail repair workshop, lofting, we have some kayak building and boat building workshops. we talked about El Toros a little bit. Yeah. One program that I'm really excited about is family boat building. We're going to be building El Toros during 4th of July weekend.
Oh, cool.
And you can choose
during the festival?
During the festival, yep. There's a variety of different ways to participate. You can help us build the fleet. And for a low cost, you can learn how to build a boat, but then you're donating the boat towards to our youth sailing programs, or you can build a boat and take it home with you, and then own an El Toro.
And El Toro is a single sail boat?
Yep, it's a cat boat.
Cat boat,
yeah. And again, it's a 8-foot pram.
Is that what cat boat means, is single sail?
Yep, cat means single sail.
Yeah,
yep.
Okay.
And then you've got sloop, which is 2. Yep.
And you got some beetle cats down here too, right?
We do. We have
Which are real beamy, round-bilged boats designed in New York or something?
I believe they were designed, you're going to catch me on this one. I believe they were designed in Massachusetts.
Were they? Okay.
Yep. And back east in the 20s, and they are their design comes from old lobster boats, so they have like a workboat origin for their design from Concordia Boat Works, and then now Beetle Cat, and so we have 3 Beetle Cats, and we do have sailing lessons in Beetle Cats for adults and youth. So if you want to learn how to sail a gaff rig cat boat, that's the Beetle Cat. Yeah. We're also going to be doing a Sail More program on sprit and lug rigs, and also racing sloops.
Cool. Very good. Well, I appreciate your time today, Mindy. Anything else you'd like to add for people listening? Anything else you want to say about yourself or the center, or any other thoughts?
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. I'd just like to say, feel free to come down to the Center for Wooden Boats if you'd like to get involved, or if you'd like to learn how to build a boat or learn how to sail. There's some amazing stories down here about how that learning just goes on and on and on, and people really are able to dive into a new hobby or a new pastime.
Cool. Well, very good. Well, thanks for your time today, Mindy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Dan.
Okay. Thanks, Mindy, for taking time to do the interview. It was fun to meet you down at the Center for Wooden Boats. You're obviously very passionate about what you do and very good. I observed Mindy with some of the students there who were asking a lot of questions, and she was very patient and kind. I'm sure you're doing a great job, Mindy, so keep up the good work, and I hope to see you soon. I would love it if you would connect with me. You can do so by email, dan@hookedonwoodenboats.com. You can leave me feedback if you right from your computer or your smartphone if you go to hookedonwoodenboats.com/voicemail, and you can record up to a 90-second message there for me. That would be awesome. You can go to my website and write comments on the different posts that I've put up, which are actually show notes for each of the episodes that I publish on Thursdays. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. I'm not super active there, but I do have Wooden Boat Dan set up there, and I've got a few things going on, so that's a way you can connect with me. You can find Hooked on Wooden Boats in the iTunes store, and you can subscribe there. And also, I would love it if you would leave a 5-star review for me in iTunes if you like the show. I think right now I've got 27 5-star reviews, which is pretty fun. If you'd like to support the show, go to hookedonwoodenboats.com/Amazon and make a purchase of any item from Amazon, and I get paid a 4% commission. Also, you can go to hookedonwoodenboats.com/JD, which stands for Jamestown Distributors. That takes you to their website, which is a great site for marine and boat building supplies. If you make a purchase there, I get paid an 8% commission. So any bit helps here. My goal eventually is to have a full-time retirement income from doing the podcasting and have some products and things available for sale. So if you want to help out, that would be a great way to do it. Well, again, I would encourage you to get in the wooden boat game, folks. And there's all kinds of ways to do that. So check it out. Have some fun with it. Rent a boat, buy a boat, build a boat, borrow a boat, go to a wooden boat festival, buy a piece of wood, get some epoxy, do something to move towards the goal of messing with wooden boats, because it's a blast. Okay, have a great week, folks. Keep the bright side up and the barnacled side down. Wooden Boat Dan over and out. God bless.